Every other video in this series has been about the next 12 to 24 months. The pricing bridge, the data flywheel, the product checklist, those are survival plays, critical, urgent stuff we want to do now. But in this video, we're going to zoom out. We're going to talk about the next 10 years. And in tech talk, that's like a century. I'm Jeff Mains, and today we're going to talk about how to build a company and a version of yourself that is still valuable in 2036. And by the end, you'll have a sample model to sanity check whether you're building something AI can't replace. This is video 15, the final video in the Futureproof series, at least for now. We've covered a lot: moats, flywheels, pricing models, relevance ladder. But here's what I haven't said just yet. None of that matters if you're not thinking about the long game. Because here's the trap: you can do everything right tactically and still build a company that is obsolete in 5 years. I mean, you can ship AI features, build APIs, capture data, evolve your pricing, and still get disrupted because you didn't build the foundation that lasts. So, what does last? It's not your tech stack. That'll change every few years. It's not your features. Those can be copied. It's not even your data mode. That can be breached. And what lasts is something deeper. And today I'm going to show you exactly what that is. We're going to draw the future-proof triangle. 3 things that make companies and founders valuable for decades, no matter what happens with AI or any other technology. Let's do this. Before we build the triangle, let's clear the table. Let's talk about what doesn't last. Your tech stack. 10 years ago, you're probably debating Ruby versus Node. 5 years ago, it was microservices versus monoliths. And today it's AI models and vector databases. In 2036, who knows? Your tech stack is going to change multiple times. And again, that's not your mode. Your features don't last. The killer feature you shipped last year, your competitor will copy it in 6 months or maybe 6 days at the rate we're going. The AI assistant you're building right now, well, somebody else is building it too. Features are temporary advantages, not permanent modes. And even if your data moat doesn't last forever, data is powerful. We've talked about this, but it's not invincible. Regulations change, customers switch, new data sources emerge. So if your only moat is data, you're one privacy law or one competitor's breakthrough away from losing it. So if none of that lasts, then what does? And here's what I've learned working with hundreds of SaaS founders over 20 plus years. The companies that last aren't the ones with the best tech or the best features. They're the ones that build 3 things: adaptive teams, and that's people who can learn faster than the market changes; deep relationships, customers who see you as a partner, not a vendor; and the third is evolving founders, leaders who don't become the bottleneck. And that is incredibly difficult to do. So let me show you how this works. I'm going to take a look at the future-proof triangle. And so we'll just drop this right over here. And there are 3 sides, obviously, triangle. And each one represents different foundation that last. And the first one we'll talk about is adaptive team. And I think an adaptive team and being adaptive yourself is actually one of the greatest skills that you can have right now and for the foreseeable future. Over here, we're going to drop deep relationships. And then on the right side, we'll say evolving founder. And so that's probably you. And what happens when we have all of these together is you're really building a company not just for today, but you're building something that is really built to last. And I had a founder a week or so ago, and he's like, "I'm not going to own this thing in 10 years. So is this really relevant?" And somebody's going to. This is going to exist in some form, I would hope. It's not something that's going to die in a few years. We want to build something that does have that longevity. And so from that perspective, I think it's really important. The other is, if you're going to sell and somebody else is going to take this over, you've got to be able to sell them the future. That's what they're buying, is the future. And if you're building this to last and you're building something saying, hey, this is going to be relevant for 10 years because we've built the right foundation, that is going to get a very different multiple than something that is, just a quick hit, flip, and get out. Very, very different. So let's walk through each side. I'll give you concrete examples, and by the end, you'll know where you're strong and where you need to focus. Well, let's start with the top of the triangle, the adaptive team. And again, I think this is one of the most critical skills to build right now. This is about building a team that learns faster than the market changes. And right now, that's really, really fast, and I don't see it slowing down at all. But here's the reality: you're not going to predict the future, and none of us are. We didn't know ChatGPT was coming in 2022, and we don't know what's coming in 2027 or 28. So you can't build a team that executes a perfect 10-year plan. You need to build a team that can adapt to whatever happens because the one constant is absolute change. So what does it look like? I think it has several components. One is a learning culture. And so having a team that wants to learn, that wants to grow, that wants to experiment, they read. They're not afraid to try new tools, the new frameworks, new approaches, and so they really have that learning culture. The second is permission to fail. And so I'm just going to say, failure is okay. It's not the end of the world. You don't need to punish people for testing ideas that don't work. You punish people for not testing ideas. And the third one I'll add in here is speed over perfection, and I'll just say speed wins. And you ship fast, you learn fast, you iterate fast. You don't spend 6 months planning, you spend 6 weeks shipping and learning. A SaaS company I work with has a rule. Every quarter, every team has to run one experiment with a new tool or technology. And last quarter, their client success team tested an AI chatbot and it flopped. But they learned what doesn't work and now they're testing something else. And that's an adaptive team. So ask yourself, is your team learning faster than the market is changing? Or are you still doing things the same way that you did 3 years ago? And if you are, then you could really be in trouble. All right. So the second side, deep relationships, down here on the bottom. And this is about being a partner, not a vendor. And here's the difference: vendors get commoditized. There's going to be a lot of that continues to happen. Customers shop around. Price matters. Switching is easy. Partners, on the other hand, are irreplaceable. Customers don't shop around. They trust you. They collaborate with you. They see your success as tied to theirs. And what does this look like in practice? Like, first and foremost, their business. And having that domain knowledge is really helps. One of the reasons I like vertical SaaS. I've mentioned that probably 20 times. But their use cases, their business, their goals, their challenges, their metrics. I mean, you understand their business, and that is significant, and it's really, really hard to find. And if you ask customers out there in choosing a product, if they would rather have somebody that's general or knows their industry, it is like off the charts. They want somebody that knows their industry. I'm like, is it really that different? Probably not, but everybody wants to be a special snowflake, and let them. So, be that expert that they're looking for and be that partner that they're looking for. Number two is you help them win. And that comes right along with knowing their business. So it's not just to help them win with your product, with advice, connections, ideas. You're invested in their success. And an example, in my SaaS company, one of the things that I did with one of our big clients is actually built them a battle card versus their biggest competitor. They're saying, their competitor was kind of kicking their teeth in. And I was like, all right, cool. And I didn't tell them I was doing it, just send it to them and help them win, because when they win, we win. And so it's just one of those little things that you can do, to help boost your clients' businesses. And I much prefer the word client because you're taking care of them than customer. But that's just me. Third is you're in the room. So I'm just going to say in room. And you're in the room, and what I mean by that is when they're making big decisions, you're part of the conversation because they trust you. You really are a partner, not a vendor, not somebody on the outside, but you're a trusted advisor, and they want your input. That makes the relationship very, very sticky, and they stay because of love, not just because of obligation or friction or because it's too hard to switch or lock in. If you go all the way back to video one, lock in versus love, this is what we want to create is that kind of a deep relationship, and this will do that for you. I know a founder who runs a 15 million ARR analytics platform, and he does quarterly business reviews with his top 20 customers. Not product reviews, business reviews. And in these reviews, he's asking questions a lot like I do. What are your goals this year? Where are you crushing? Where are you crashing? What are the big challenges right now? And how can we help? And it's not about what can the product do to help them. It's what can we do as an organization in our network and really everything that we do, our expertise, how can we help you grow? And a lot of times the answer has nothing to do with the product at all. He'll connect them with investors, introduce them to potential hires, give them strategic advice. And why? Because he's building a relationship, not a transaction. And guess what? His top 20 customers have 100% retention rate, and they refer other customers constantly. That is a deep, deep relationship. So ask yourself, do your customers see you as a partner or a vendor? If you disappeared tomorrow, would they miss you or would they just scramble to find a replacement tool? And if it's the replacement tool, then you're not building deep enough relationships. So, how about the evolving founder? This is the hardest one because it's about you. And here's the tough conversation. Most founders become the bottleneck. I have been. If you're watching this, you probably have been. And in fact, you might even be right now. In year one, you're scrappy, you're hands on, you're making things happen. And in year five, you're still scrappy, still hands on. And now you're slowing down the team because of all those things. It's kind of a crazy transition. If every decision flows through you, every hire needs your approval, every strategy shift requires your buy in, you think you're being thorough. But your team thinks that you're the problem. And they're probably right because I've been in that boat multiple times, multiple companies. And here's what this looks like when it's broken. You're the only one who can talk to big customers. You may have a one-on-one relationship with them, or they're the ones that are calling you on your cell phone when they need help instead of going through support or letting client success take care of it. Could be you're the only one who can make product decisions. If you're still controlling the roadmap and the priorities list and the backlog, and the team can't move forward until you help them plan the sprint, you're probably the bottleneck. Or if you're the only one that understands the strategy, if you haven't shared that with your team and let them run with it, here's where we are, here's where we're going, figure out how to get us there instead of just telling them what they need to do to get there. And if that's you, the company can't scale past you. A company will never outgrow the founder, and we become the bottleneck. It'll never outgrow the founder. And so in order for it to grow, then you have to continue to grow and develop yourself. And it's what I call filling the chair. It's like, sitting in this giant chair. You've probably seen them like beach towns. They have these giant beach chairs and you're sitting in there and your feet aren't touching the ground. And, this giant chair that 5 people could sit in. That's kind of what it's like being in the CEO seat of a growing company like that. And you have to grow to be able to expand your capabilities to fill that chair. And, in 10 years, you'll either burn out or your company will stagnate if you don't do that. So what does an evolving founder look like? First of all, we're going to build systems, not just solutions. And so let's add that here, systems. I'm going to say systems plus. So it's not just solutions. You don't just solve problems, you create processes so the problem doesn't happen again. And it's so important. You hire people smarter than you, and then you trust them. You don't micromanage, you empower. And so I'm going to say hire smart. And that's a tough one for a lot of founders. Yeah, it's intimidating to hire somebody smarter than you. I love doing that because it takes so much of a burden off of me and what I'm doing. And it allows me to really focus in on the areas that matter and other super smart people that are great in areas that I'm not. And the last one is investing in yourself. It's one of the greatest investments that you can make is to invest in you. Yeah, can't tax your knowledge. A founder I work with used to be in every product meeting, every sales call, every customer escalation. And 2 years ago, made the decision after from many conversations to take a little step back, hired a VP of product, chief revenue officer, and a head of customer success. And that was a major, major, major step because he was really kind of in all of those roles to a large degree. And to be able to take a step back, and at first it was terrifying. Felt like that he was losing control. But here's what happened. The company grew faster, the team was way more empowered, decisions happened quicker, and he finally had time to think about the next 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, instead of just firefighting every single day. And that is an evolving founder. So, ask yourself, am I the bottleneck? Are you the bottleneck? Yeah, if you took a month off, would your company fall apart? And if the answer is yes, you're not evolving, you're holding yourself and your company back. So, evolving founder. So, if we look at the overall future proof triangle, adaptive team, learning faster than the market changes, deep relationships, being a partner, not a vendor, or evolving founder, not being the bottleneck. I mean, get all three of those right, and your company is built to last. It is future proof, and that's what this whole series is about. Ignore even one of those, and you're vulnerable. All right, we have covered a lot in this series. 14 videos before this one, frameworks, playbooks, checklists. But here's the bottom line. None of it matters if you don't do something. All the value is in your next step. So here's my challenge to you. Pick one concrete action item from this series and do it this week. And I would say pick one big one and one small. What's one small thing that you could do and implement before the day is out? And get that done. And then pick one concrete action from the series and do it this week. Maybe it takes a little bit longer, but the first step, get that first step done this week or get the whole thing done this week. So not next month, not next quarter, do it this week. And maybe it's running your product through the AI ready checklist. That was back in video 11. Drawing the relevance ladder and answering the 3 questions. And I think that was video 14. Picking one of the 3 plays in the frozen middle. That was video 12. Starting to build your data flywheel back in video 9. Looking at pricing, which was video 4 and 10. Mapping your defensibility score, and that was in video 6. So just pick one. You don't have to do everything, but pick one, write it down, and put it on your calendar, or even better, assign someone to own it that's not you, because you don't want to be the bottleneck in this process either. Says, here's what I've learned. Founders who win aren't the ones with the best ideas. They are the ones who execute. When we look at investing in companies, I don't even care what the industry is. I don't care about a lot of stuff. I want people who execute. That's it. Because if someone will execute, all of the other stuff we can take care of and go. So take messy action. The best founders, that's exactly what they do. They take messy action, they learn, they adjust. The ones who lose, they watch endless trainings, they nod along and they say this is great, and then they do nothing with it. So don't be that founder. Pick one thing and do it this week. Let me leave you with one final thought. Future proof doesn't mean predicting the future. It means building yourself and your company to handle any future. I mean, we don't know what's coming in 2036. I mean, we barely know what's coming in 2027. I don't know, maybe all the machines take over by then. But we do know this. The companies that last are the ones that build teams that can learn and adapt. And the better they are at that, the faster they do that, the better off they're going to be. They build relationships that go deeper than transactions. And as we move deeper into an AI world, those deep relationships are going to become more and more and more valuable. And then finally, it's build founders who keep evolving. And that's you. Keep evolving, keep changing, keep expanding your capabilities. So I just love that visual image of that giant beach chair that you're growing to fill that chair. Everything else, the tech, the features, the tactics, all those will change probably multiple times. But these three foundations, they last. I've been through multiple tech revolutions, economic shakeups, the highs, the lows, the technology changes. I mean, all of that. And getting these three right is how you create a company that is future proof and can weather those storms, whatever they are, because we don't know what the future is. But we've just got to prepare for it and be ready to adapt. So stop chasing the next shiny object. Stop obsessing over the perfect strategy and start building a company and a version of yourself that is still valuable in 2036, because that is the real game. All right, that's the series. 15 videos, one framework, how to make your SaaS company future-proof in the AI area. If this series hit home, do me a favor, share it with a founder who needs it. That's one of the highest honors that I have, is when somebody shares, things that we do, things that I do with other founders, and because that's the point of doing all this, is to help founders. So it could be somebody in the frozen middle, could be somebody struggling with pricing, someone wondering if their moat is strong enough, if they even, do we even have a moat anymore? Send them the link, tell them to start with video 1, and let's help more founders survive what's coming, whatever that is. And if you want help working through this playbook with other SaaS founders, with me, in your own business, just reach out. I work with founders who are serious about building companies that last, not just companies that survive the next 12 months, but companies that are still worth a lot in 2036. So you can find me at championleadership.com, or just drop a comment below and we'll connect. Connect with me on LinkedIn as well. Thanks for sticking through this series. It has been a journey. Now, go build something that lasts. And as always, enjoy the journey.